Hey everyone, my name's Kyle and today I'm going to be talking about The Ritual. The movie starts off with 5 college buddies reuniting and unfortunately one of them gets murdered in a liquor store. So they decide to take a trip to the forest to bury him and one of them actually gets injured in the process. So on the way back they decide to take a shortcut through the actual forest, which looks like the spookiest thing you've ever seen in your life. And of course it's a horror movie, so creepy things ensue. I think the movie just came on Netflix very recently, but I heard a ton of people saying some really good things about it, so I was like, you know what, I'll try it out. I wasn't really looking forward to this movie. I honestly had no idea it even existed before a week ago. But I was like, you know what, let's see it. Now when it comes to Netflix, their TV shows are usually awesome. But their movies, however, I really have not loved any of them. I thought that they were either fine or just very disappointing movies. And unfortunately, The Ritual falls into that very okay-ish territory. I'm not saying this movie was a disaster. It's not terrible, but I do think it's far from great. But let's talk about what I liked first about the movie. Definitely the best aspect of it was the cast. I thought the acting in the movie was really good. You could really understand the characters, even though they do fall into some of the, random horror movie cliches of the one character saying, okay guys, we gotta stick together. And then we got the other one who's crying like, oh god, we're never gonna get out of here. And just being annoying. But I do think the acting in the movie was pretty solid. We have Rafe Spall in the movie, who I think is a rather underrated actor. He's definitely been in a ton of films, especially in Edgar Wright's Cornetto trilogy. He played Sergeant Cartwright in Hot Fuzz. He was also in The World's End and Life of Pi. I think he's a very talented actor, and I really liked his performance throughout the entire movie. And I also love the setting. The idea of having a classic monster movie in the forest is definitely cliched, and it definitely shows that in this movie. But it's always a fun concept to just, get intrigued by. And I would say I was really on board for the first 25 minutes or so of this movie. I think it started off great. And I was really interested to see where these characters were going to go. Like I said before, the introduction to the forest was really spooky. And there were a couple of scares toward the beginning that I actually felt were very effective. They were kind of like jump scares, but I did find them effective because there was something shocking to behold. Following that, without really spoiling what happens, there is a hallucination scene. And I feel right after that, the movie just went downhill consistently. It got worse and worse as it went along. I felt the hallucination scene was pretty shocking. However, after that, I was actually able to predict just about everything that happened in this movie. Not necessarily to a T. Definitely the huge character moments and the big twist that happens towards the end, I saw coming a mile away. To me, the most unfortunate aspect of this movie is that it just felt like there were several missed opportunities. For one, this movie definitely should have been longer. I feel like we should have gotten to know the characters on a more deep level instead of just identifying them through the usual horror movie cliches. The film definitely had some gory moments and I thought those were some of the best moments. Unfortunately, a lot of the other horror in this movie is basically comprised of jump scares. Someone randomly stepping out or stepping on a twig and there's that loud booming sound. And the problem is that after a while, it's not really frightening when you just expect it to happen so frequently. Guys, if you are a die-hard horror fan, I would recommend checking this movie out because there's a lot of moments in the movie that are just made for die-hard horror fans. But for the most part, I found this movie to be very disappointing. You heard me say this about the Cloverfield Paradox if you watched that review, but this is one of those movies that's not a train wreck, but it's far from great, and it feels quite rushed at times. And again, like Cloverfield 3, I felt the first half hour of the movie was great, but then it just kept going downhill from there. I'm not trying to compare the two, but if I was, this movie is a little bit better than Cloverfield 3, because at least the movie didn't feel as forced as that movie did, with trying to tie it into the Cloverfield universe. But overall, The Ritual I thought was okay. It contained great performances, good visuals, and a solid look for the monster in the movie, but overall, I feel like The Ritual is one of those movies that definitely had the potential to be a truly great film, and it just couldn't reach it, despite all of those great elements working together. In the end, guys, I'm going to give The Ritual a C+. So if you guys saw The Ritual, what did you think? I'd like to hear your comments, so send them down in the comment section below. Also, I'd like to know, what did you think of the ending to the movie? Because I was kind of conflicted. When I first saw the movie, I really liked it, but now I kind of hate it. I felt like it was a bit abrupt. So I'd like to know your thoughts on that too. Please leave a comment, but also say spoilers at the beginning for those of you who haven't seen the movie and don't want to know anything. But anyways, guys, thank you so much as always, and stay tuned.